What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Old Souls, the show where we talk about the movies, the shows, the music, the people, and today the games that keep us young, and the memories that keep us young too. Shit, that's what happens when you try to improv the intro. Get it together, Michael. I'm one of your hosts, Michael, and with me as always is Andrew. How you doing, man?
What's good, man?
That's good.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, it's kind of cool
Yeah.
doing this like late at night, a little later than we usually do. It's a 3-day weekend upon us, so
Yeah.
yeah.
We're at dusk right now.
Is it? I can't even tell anymore.
Over here. The sun just kind of went
Oh,
down.
it's already dark here in the city, but we're gonna be
Yeah.
kind of neighbors again in like
Yeah.
2 weeks time, so that'll be
That's funny.
pretty cool.
Well, I might start. I'm looking for a way out of here.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
I
So
might,
we'll
it might not be too
switch.
long,
That's
but
fine. That's fine.
but I'll be here pretty often. I'll
Yeah.
miss my cat.
Oh, you have a cat? I didn't know. Not that Cheshire cat painting behind you.
Oh no, I took that from a previous workplace.
Okay, that's what I thought. Fair enough. So, actually, before we get started with the topic, I could maybe just I made a little trip over to Amoeba Music today to trade some shit in, and
Yeah.
pretty generous, man. I got like $54 in credit.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Could
so-
you like tell me what you sold? Just a couple things that you sold.
Just a few CDs. So a few CDs that I didn't really need them anymore. They were already digitized. So it was stuff from Rasputin some stuff I initially got from Rasputin out in
Yeah.
Campbell, and then I was like, I'm moving, so every little.
Oh,
every
Campbell,
little
that's a
inch.
good one. The big one.
I like that. That Rasputin's really
That
good.
one's a good one. Yeah, I bought a couple DVDs there when I went to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Or no, I stayed in where was it? I don't know, wherever the Toll House Hotel is. They give you Toll House cookies there and free wine. But it was out there. But Campbell wasn't too far away. But my bad. Keep going.
That's cool. So a few CDs like an Elton John CD. Like Elton John's Greatest Hits, a couple other things. But yeah, they were already in my iTunes, so it wasn't a huge deal. A couple of games that I just didn't need anymore. And like being completely honest with myself, like was not gonna play. So I kind of just had to stop kidding myself. Would
Right.
Take a little bit off the top of the backlog. And a couple of a few DVDs. And then I think what might have really kicked things over into high gear, I traded in a couple of figures that I
Oh, okay.
just wasn't really married to, and like they were gifts, and I just really wasn't really married to them.
All right. They take toys?
Yeah, it's a surprise. That was kind of a Hail Mary on my end. I wasn't entirely sure, but
I wonder if do they take books too?
yeah, they take books. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck. I remember some books. I
yeah.
got hella books.
Yeah, as long as it's sort of, I think what they mostly have is like graphic novels, like art books, books about music. So anything kind of within that, you'd probably be good. Let me see, just off the top of my head though. So my come ups for today, Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights for $1. Like the stuff I got for $1, I was really fucking excited about. So Shanghai Nights, Shanghai Noon. Almost Famous, which I don't know if I've told you, but that's probably one of my like top 5 movies.
Okay.
Just Friends for $2. What else did I come out with? Shoot, I just put them all on my shelf, but now I can't remember because I just reorganized the shelf real quick. But anyway, the 2 things I was most excited for were the Freakazoid DVD box set.
Oh, okay.
Because I never see those anywhere, and I haven't seen that since I was a kid. But I'm really excited to get back into it, and it was only $20 each, so it's $40 for like the whole show. So
Oh, shit.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty stoked there.
That's a rare one too.
Yeah, for sure. Like that was definitely. I mean, it was popular, but it wasn't as popular as all the other stuff like on the Kids WB lineup. I think that show is definitely ahead of its time. But
Okay. I'm not too familiar with it. I remember it being out, but I never really tuned in.
yeah. Okay. So anything what's new with you? You want to update anything, or do we just want to get right into it?
No. I just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
Not much
That's
going
fair.
on, to
That's
be
cool.
honest. Just enjoying the weekend, man.
That sounds good. Well, let's keep on enjoying the weekend. So tonight's topic is a little different. Required on our part a little less rigorous preparation work. We kind of just wanted to talk. You know, but don't worry, we'll get back to the usual antics soon enough. So tonight we just thought we would have kind of a freewheeling discussion about our favorite video games and video game consoles growing up. First off, what age do you want to kind of cut it off at? Because that's important. Like, there's certain games I can't really mention then. I shouldn't mention then because it's like.
I would stop maybe like middle school.
Middle school.
You
okay.
know, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. A lot of my favorite stuff was from that time, but. We'll see how far we get. Because there's like a lot of things from you know like our prime childhood that I would want to touch.
And I would want to touch for sure. And there are like definitely purists out there or people who kind of draw a line in the sand. But do we include arcade games in this discussion?
Okay, I was gonna bring that up because one of my earliest video game memories is going to the arcades, and I could just touch on it. But I feel like this might be a conversation for a different time. I think. When you think of arcades, I also think of skee ball. I also think of
that's a
those
whole
kinds
other,
of games too.
Okay, that's a whole. I think that really is a whole other conversation. So let's keep it to home console experience, consoles and handhelds for tonight. We'll do another. We'll do arcades.
Because like arcades also it ties into like the location of the arcade.
That's true.
Because a lot of them aren't there anymore.
There's a lot of
good warm feelings with it.
That's okay. So we'll do arcades at another time. So we'll keep it on the home console. On that note, what was the first? What do you feel? What was maybe your earliest memory? Do you remember the first console you ever touched or played?
Yeah, I do. It was Sega. I played this Genesis and I was playing Sonic. Okay. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember whose it was, but it might have been like a neighborhood friend. You know, like someone I just like happened to know when I was a youngster. I'm talking like maybe 3, 4 years old.
That sounds about right.
I just remember playing Sonic and it was really fun. And I remember like going into department stores and that was like back when they would have video games kind of
the demo stations.
There. Yeah. So some of those were up. Like Mario was up sometimes. Nintendo. But it was Sega for the most part. But then if we go, what about you? What introduced you?
Yeah, totally. I think I probably touched on this the last.
Aside from movies, I saw them in like movies and TV, and then like you see them in your life.
Sure. Yeah, I think I touched on this maybe last week or the week before, but this definitely has come up in our Street Fighter esque conversations. So my earliest video game memory, I think 2 technically, but. So the first one that I'll just kind of bring up real quick is my family had this super old computer, but for some reason it had Pac-Man on it, but it was it wasn't like a direct port. It was in black and white, which is weird. I'd never seen it like that before. So it's probably super basic, but my grandpa, he would do like the waka waka waka, like that was his thing, and it always would make me laugh. So there's that, and then I think in terms of console, so for me it's the Super Nintendo, the SNES, and my family so this was about 2 or 3 years old for me too, but my family and I, when we lived in the Philippines at some apartment complex, it was kind of like, I guess it was kind of like those condos where, you know, there's like a courtyard and you can just walk across the way to like your neighbor's place or whatever. So I would go across the street to my neighbor's. This was like my earliest friend. I think our dads worked together, so that's probably why they lived close to each other. But I would just go across to his, to their condo or townhouse or whatever and play. You know, I'm pretty sure my earliest memories were definitely Street Fighter 2, and probably Super Mario World. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So there's that. The Sega games for sure. And I'm trying to think of little. The timeline might be a little shaky, but we had a Windows 95 computer, and I had some games for that. Like I had a Rugrats game for that, like interactive game. there's like a space game where you like explore a planet. There's aliens there. I don't remember what it's called. And then there's like some of the games that came with like the skier where the Yeti comes out and eats you.
Is it a Yeti or like a evil snowman?
Some kind of weird animal. It's a snowman. You're right. It's a snowman.
It's like an evil.
It's so freaky. Like the first time it happened, I was so upset.
I didn't even know how you would win that game. Like.
Yeah. Tetris, Minesweeper.
I mean, and like that space-themed pinball game that was on every single Windows computer.
Pipe Dream. There's like Windows 95 had that list of games. Like there was hella games in it that were kind of fun. And then I had let me think of like the old school games first. So my cousin had a Super Nintendo and we would play the Power Rangers game on that. He had other games, but that was the only one we would play.
That game holds up pretty well, I want to say.
Yeah. When I first learned how to get the mods and all that, this is the first game I got, and it was the only game I got.
Who was your main as the kid gamer say? You know what that means, right?
Oh,
okay. Just want to make sure. Who's your main? Like who's the character you use the most?
Oh yeah, I got you. For sure, it was Jason or Zach were the ones I would choose.
Yeah.
And then like if I kept dying, it would be like.
Trini was pretty good. I would say Trini had pretty. I mean, it's weird. Like they didn't control really differently. If anything, they just maybe had different reach.
Yeah, they just had like kind of different moves, different weapons.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. And I mean, what else? And my other cousin had a Sega Saturn.
Oh, thank God. I think it was Sega Saturn. I don't feel alone anymore. I had a Sega Saturn, but no one else I knew had one. So they were like, "What the hell are you talking about? What's a Sega Saturn?" Like, and not like that because we were kids, but you know.
Right. And I didn't even really know much about it. Like, I didn't see him that often, and no one I knew had one. I didn't go to friends' house that often, so. After the Genesis, like Sonic, I didn't really get much of Sega because I was into Nintendo and PlayStation, things like that.
Yeah, I never owned a Sega Genesis. I would see it. I think, and that definitely. Let me see if anybody answered, because that was definitely a huge debate in the early to mid '90s. Was like Sega versus Nintendo. There was a lot of, just it was like a political campaign. They were just attacking each other left and right. So yeah, what's your take on that? Like Sega or Nintendo? Like particularly of those, like I guess we're saying technically just SNES or Genesis, like in term to kind of keep it where that argument was most playing out. 75% of my respondents on Instagram say Sega, Super Nintendo. By the way,
man, it's tough because I want to say Genesis, but Nintendo has so much more like fun games.
Yeah. Like Sega was definitely edgier, and they kind of tried to milk that for all they could,
Yeah,
like the games were more gory.
I think the games for Nintendo hold up better. I think the ones for Sega are kind of better off left, like in the past, which is why I don't think the classic. Because I had the classic and you and I played it, and it wasn't really that fun.
It was a little underwhelming.
So I mean, they didn't have like games like Beavis and Butthead or things like that, but that's kind of like an anomaly.
That's the thing that kind of captured my imagination for I think, like the licensed games maybe might have been a little better on the Sega Genesis from what I think my understanding is. Yeah. But in terms of their own IP or whatever, I think Nintendo, I think just totally had dominated that space. I think Nintendo has it. Yeah.
Because they have so much. I don't know. Like you have to think of. Like Kirby too.
Yeah, they have that. Well, they have more. They have more mascots.
Metroid.
That's when like mascots, gaming mascots really became a thing, and that shit really started to matter. And Sega really only had Sonic, maybe had Vector Man or some shit if that's what you were into. Or remember Cool Spot? You remember that? He was like I think he was like a cool. He was basically, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was a 7-Up mascot. He was essentially Chester Cheetah. But he was just like a red dot with sunglasses. But they.
Oh yeah.
He was
I remember that.
That was the whole thing.
Jesus.
Yeah. He was I'm just looking at it right now. He was a 7-Up mascot. That's so weird. And then they gave him his own video game. They turned him into a video game.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I like I said, I want to like Genesis more, but I think Nintendo
In
takes it.
theory, like I think it was just it looked cooler. It was black. The cartridges were a little more sleek.
Oh, the blue logo, the
Yeah,
Sega,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
It
it's so
just
cool, but it's just to me it doesn't hold up as well.
yeah.
It's kind of dated.
It's and for some and I never really liked the controller either. It
Hmm.
was just it was bigger, but it somehow felt flimsier.
Yeah, the buttons didn't
And
seem to press. It seemed like they just kind of.
the buttons were kind of
Yeah.
spongy. Yeah.
It was like they weren't like individual buttons. It seemed like it was one bar with like circles on it.
Although only Sega had a Michael Jackson video game, Super Nintendo did
Oh
not.
yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
That shit's on that Xbox that I got.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a hard game.
Michael. It's until when especially when there's just way too many gangsters and you don't have enough magic to make them all dance together and stuff.
And I think Beavis and Butthead was Genesis.
I think
think.
probably. I don't see a world where Nintendo would have been okay with that. I mean, Nintendo had a more family friendly
Yeah.
like reputation.
I'm not saying it was a good game, but it was fun.
So I definitely did not. Again, a lot of those classic cartridge-based consoles were not things. Were not things that I owned. I would just go to play them at other people's houses. Therefore, I would say I have more of an appreciation rather than a real fondness for certain games, just because I didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time with them. Like,
Yeah.
I would go to my mom's friend's house for maybe dinner or something, and her daughters had their Super Nintendo in the basement, and I would either play Super Mario All Stars or Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you could like throw the bad guys, the foot soldiers, the foot ninjas at the screen. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, do you remember the first time you blew into a cartridge?
That's only because I saw my cousin
Yeah,
do it
exactly.
for the 64,
When
and
really-
I thought it did something.
I mean, when really it did something. It's just you're blowing your fucking saliva onto the components.
I guess that sparks it up.
I
I
guess.
read you're not supposed to do that though.
No, yeah, it's totally bad for it. Like it probably would totally. That's probably why
I still do it if I pull out my 64 or
Uh-huh.
something and I can't get it to play. I just for some reason.
I mean,
I think it works.
yeah. I mean, we've definitely seen those T-shirts where it's, an NES cartridge, and below it says, underneath it says "Blow me." Below me. I don't get it.
That's pretty good. Below me.
Below. The a lot of my memories come from like licensed games, like the Tiny Toons game on that Super Nintendo
Yeah,
was
it's
pretty
it's
sick.
like the gimmick.
Yeah.
The gimmick games.
Yeah, but it's dependent on the developer too. Like Konami, in the '90s, Konami really had its shit together, and through the late '90s too, with stuff like Metal Gear and whatnot. But I know that they've really sort of fallen from grace in the last 5 to 7
Konami,
years.
didn't they make DDR?
Yes, they did. Yes, yes. So I did not own. Yeah. What do you remember playing on the Saturn?
Like an X-Men game. I don't remember.
Really? Oh, maybe. Yeah, I know they had like a fighting game at that point. That's yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Uh-huh.
I really couldn't tell you because I don't remember what came out on it.
Yeah, exactly. It was just that much of a. I don't really know what happened there. I'm really curious to learn more about. I'd be curious to learn more about Sega because there was a point where they were outselling Nintendo. I'm pretty sure, but then starting with and they had really great arcade games, but I think once they got to the Saturn, like maybe it was just a matter of marketing. And I know ultimately the Dreamcast didn't really work for them either, but I had all these crazy weird games on the Saturn. I had like some normal stuff like Daytona Racing, Virtua Cop.
Do you still have the
No,
Saturn?
I wish I did. I don't know what happened
that's
to it, but
pretty
it
cool.
would have been cool to still try and play some of that stuff.
Because they're pretty expensive now.
Oh, I'm sure, especially since they're so like the more obscure, the more expensive. The thing I played the most on that was this game called Clockwork Knight. It was and actually it's a pretty cool concept. So it's just it's a side-scrolling platformer, but it's sort of got this Toy Story vibe to it. It takes place just in this house, and all these toys come to life. You play this wind up knight named Pepper or something, and you have like a little wind up skeleton key as a sword, and you make your way from one end of the stage to the other, fighting enemies to rescue your girlfriend, who is like, she was part of the cuckoo clock in the house or something like that. But there's some really disturbing fucking boss fights in that game. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna send you clips of boss fights, and I'm just like, watch this shit. It's so weird.
Do it, because I like watching gameplay of old games.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like you said, you kind of have to be honest with
kind of
yourself.
have to
like
see
you're
it.
not gonna play these games, like, or you're not gonna go out of your way to play them, and like I need to see them.
Yeah,
I guess that's the big part. I used to like watching people play games too. I don't mind that. I'm not that good at video games. I kind of realized that like recently. I'm like, damn, I've never really beaten that many games in my life, and I think the biggest ones were recently with those Knights of the Old Republic games for Xbox.
I mean, give yourself some credit, man. Your RPGs take a lot of time and effort, so
those weren't easy games to beat either. I was like, I almost gave up at the boss because it was just fucking impossible. I had to cheat. I didn't cheat. I didn't cheat, but I felt like I was cheating.
I respect that.
But what do you call it? What was the first? So you owned a Saturn?
Yeah, I got that. I think when I was 6. Yeah, I think when I turned 5 or 6 years old.
The first one I owned was the N64.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's get into that. That's something I didn't own, and I know a lot of people have a lot of love for that system.
So I first played it. My older cousin got it, and he had a few games. But when I first went over there, he was playing this game called Dark Rift. It was a fighting game, and I thought it was just like the coolest shit ever. You look at it now, it's like, oh fuck, that looks like shit. That's like, it's terrible. It's a terrible game compared to everything else. But at the time, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And my parents bought me one for
this
Christmas or my birthday later that year.
Yeah.
And all right, did you pull it up?
Yeah, I did.
It looks pretty bad.
It looks like. Do you remember? Did you ever play Star Wars Masters of Teräs Käsi? Like the really shitty Star Wars fighting game.
Yes.
It looks a little better than that, but good
That's
lord.
For
that was on PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Yeah, it was on PlayStation.
I remember that game, dude. That was. You brought me back.
This kind of has like a Soul Edge, like it's it's weapons based fighting.
There were a lot of games like that on the 64. Like BioFreaks is one of them. I think it was called BioFreaks.
That sounds familiar.
But whatever. But the first game I got was this fighting game called Mace: The Dark Age, which is like sentimentally is my favorite game ever.
Oh really? Okay.
Sentimentally,
tell me.
It's just a fighting game. It takes
okay.
place in like the medieval times, but there's like
oh my god,
fighters from all around the world. It's hard to beat.
This was a Midway joint, of course.
Yeah, Midway. Yeah.
The kings of violent video games. Before Rockstar, there was Midway.
Yeah, it's science fiction-y kind of.
Oh yeah,
it has that look. It's like fantasy, but it's just a straight-up fighting game.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, this is totally like the Soul Calibur games. Mm-hmm. People fighting with their weapons and everything.
Yeah. Had fatalities in it and everything. So there's that. I was a big platform gaming fan. Mm-hmm. Like Mario 64.
Yeah. We got. See.
Banjo-Kazooie, Zelda.
Yeah. Travis 93 shares that sentiment. Mario 64 for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean that's like a deal. You have to.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, I couldn't play that game to save my life at the end of the day, but of course I know Bob-omb Battlefield. You just hear that music and just flipping around the castle and everything.
Yeah,
and
it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
I think the Spider-Man game was on it, but the PlayStation one was way better.
We'll talk about that for sure.
And then there's just a whole bunch of other games that I like that also came out on other systems like Mortal Kombat, Rampage
World Tour. Wait, Rampage World Tour or Rampage? There was another one. Oh, it's called Universal Tour. I think was the second one.
Yeah.
But World Tour was my shit. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent a whole summer playing that.
Such a fun fucking game.
Who was your favorite? George. What is it? George, Lizzie, and what was the name of the wolf? Do you remember?
No, but the wolf was my favorite.
The wolf was your favorite? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I like Lizzie just because like Godzilla was really popular at the time. You know.
It's so fucked up how you could like grab people out of the building and like eat them.
Yeah, I was the best.
Man.
But then
Oh my God.
sometimes you'd eat. Like if you ate the wrong kind of person, you would throw up, or maybe if you just ate like the I was like I don't know if you ate old people. Ralph. Oh, yeah, Ralph was the name of the wolf.
Ralph.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That game holds up, dude. I want like all these games we're talking about. I just want to get emulators for them right now.
Well, I have some like let me put up my favorites for N64. Now because we're on N64. I know I'm kind of cutting you off. With,
no,
like,
that's
some
all good.
years, but
you actually had this console, so I won't. Actually, I had this too. I just barely had any games for it.
Okay, so my favorites were like Mario 64, Mario Kart, like Mario Tennis. There's this game called Iggy's Wrecking Balls. It's like a racing game, but you're just like these bouncy ass balls that just go around these really fucking weird maps. Mystical Ninja.
Oh, Goemon, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
one.
That's a fun game. Soundtrack and everything is great. WrestleMania 2000 and WWF No Mercy. Very similar games, but just different like characters in them. Perfect Dark. And then like some hidden gems. I would say like some of the above. I just like some of those ones I listed were like hidden gems. But Shadow Man. You ever heard of Shadow Man?
I've seen these are all games I've seen on the shelves of say Blockbuster or Hollywood Video.
Shadow Man is pretty wild. Like you're just this. I forget who you are, but
this
you get
game.
You get sent to hell. So you're pretty much in hell, like trying to fight your way through it. I don't know. It's just pretty wild. I have it.
There was a lot of edgy shit on N64. I don't think they get enough credit. They had such
Conquers was on N64 first. Yeah. What else? Chameleon Twist. Have you ever heard of that game?
No, it's
a platform game.
It sounds like that scene in Mystery Men, like French Tickler. They
Fighter's Destiny.
Fighter's Destiny. Good lord.
It's not. It would be my favorite if I could have beaten it, but there's this character in it that I could never fucking beat him. It was a Joker character.
Was this another just fighting one-on-one fighting game?
Yeah, it's just a fighting game, like a tournament style fighting game. Maybe like a ripoff of Tekken.
Yeah,
almost.
It looks more like Virtua Fighter than anything else.
Yeah. But I think for the most part, that's pretty much it for my N64 games. Like, I mean, I liked
original Smash Brothers. Were you a Zelda
Smash
guy?
Bros for sure. Zelda, I love Zelda. I love both of those games, Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. What else? I wasn't a big fan of like the Donkey Kong stuff that came out for 64. Maybe I was just getting out of it because I also had a PS1 at one point. I was able to get one of those.
Surprised GoldenEye? Were you a GoldenEye guy?
Yeah, I like GoldenEye. But I like Perfect Dark a little more. And it's like the same developers.
Same developer. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Perfect Dark. Yeah, so most of my N64 experience came from visiting my godbrothers in Hercules because they had one, and that's just we'd go to the party and I would eat, and then I'd go upstairs and play N64 with them, rather spend the next 2 to 3 hours getting my ass kicked by them. Because they were just so much better than me at all those games.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
A lot.
So maybe that kind of that sort of discouraged me a little. But I was just, I'm just here. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. It's whatever. But I think it was so I think this is a thing that doesn't really happen now because, couch co-op sort of is this almost kind of feels like a thing of the past. But one thing.
Oh, speaking of that, I was gonna cut another hidden gem for 64 was Battle Tanks.
Battle Tanks.
This game called Battle Tanks, another game called Fighters. What was it called? Fighting Force.
Fighting Force.
Fighting Force 64, and I think there was one for PlayStation.
It originated on PlayStation. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Those two games, Battle Tanks too. Like those were fucking crazy games.
Fighting
those
Force
are
was
just fun.
Fighting Force was the shit, man.
Yeah,
Hawk Manson. How that sounds like. It kind of sounds like a porn name or a 70s detective name.
Yeah. But when you said, you're going to your cousin's house, those are games like my cousin would rent. And Battle Tanks and Fighting Force, we had just a lot of fun playing those. Couch co-op,
Yeah.
We did a lot of that.
Smasher. It's like, wasn't it like Smash? Fighting Force was actually... Tying it back to a previous console generation, Fighting Force, I think, was originally conceived as a sort of 3D evolution. It was supposed to be a Streets of Rage game.
Okay, I might have heard something about that.
Which makes total sense because I think it's not just because I think like the combat controls were actually pretty deep. Like you could do these like special maneuvers and combos and everything like that. It wasn't just you could button mash for sure, but I remember like there was a button you had to hold down so you could get a running start and do like a flying kick and take out multiple bad guys with kind of like bowling pin style or whatever.
I know. I just remember like some of the power ups, and you get like you drink Coke for health.
Yeah, you would just beat up the soda machine, and it would spit out cans, and you
just
would just drink the
Fonzie
cans.
everything, and it comes out. Yeah.
Exactly. Damn, I just want to watch gameplay footage of all this stuff right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go search up some of it for sure.
Yeah.
But what else, dude? I'm sorry, I hella cut off your story.
Nah, it's cool. So what I was saying about the N64 and just how like couch co-op's not really a thing now, so I feel like people don't really need to worry about this anymore. But I want to say the N64 for me just felt that controller felt the worst when like someone's sweaty ass hands or their oily ass hands got all up in it. You know what I'm talking about, right? Because I mean, already like.
I had no idea where you were going with this.
Okay, sorry.
Until you said
but I mean,
that. Yes, you're right.
Like,
you're on point with that.
The N64 controller already had that like weird. It was like it was definitely an iconic look, but in practice it was kind of weird. It had that sort of pitchfork design, sort of 3 prongs, and then you held it asymmetrically. And then sometimes
you're right. It was the worst. It was the worst control to have after someone was using it.
Yeah, especially because the joystick had the grooves there. So if like, so those grooves would get hella slippery with someone else manhandling the controller.
I specifically remember using napkins to wipe shit down. Like I could feel myself like wiping sweat off of a controller right now in my head.
Yeah, you're more sanitary than most probably your age at that time.
Well, I just because I mean my hands were sweating too, so it's like Jesus Christ.
I know, and everyone's eating fucking bagel bites in between gaming sessions or whatever, pounding back Sunny D.
Right.
So that's how I grew up. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, 7-Up, Coke, water. Chicken nuggets, whatever the fuck.
It was
bagel
big,
bites.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the controller was big, but it just felt too light to me. I don't know, and it just felt.
I remember throwing my control on the ground a few times and like thinking it broke. Mm-hmm. So those things are they were pretty durable. I don't know if I could drop them off a balcony like I did to my toys, but
right.
And then, you think that's it for 64? Because I kind of want to.
I would just also shout out a couple of quick shout outs from Instagram. Careweezy.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Careweezy mentioned Star Fox 64.
Oh, how could I forget?
I really wish.
Rogue Squadron.
Oh yeah, the original Rogue Squadron for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see, anyone else here?
Twisted Edge. It was a snowboarding game. That game was hella fun.
Oh, Twisted Edge, I knew 1080 was a thing on Nintendo, 1080, but I never heard of Twisted Edge.
No, that wasn't as fun as Twisted Edge. It was a little, and Snowboard Kids.
Oh, Snowboard Kids, yeah.
That was a fun game. Diddy Kong Racing was great.
Well, because that one you could fly the little planes. That's why I kind of like that better.
And there's like some other games like Kirby, Crystal Shards. There's Quest.
Man, did you own all this shit, or did you buy? No, did you borrow a lot of stuff?
Either rent or play like other friends' houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had exposure to a lot of these games, and a lot of them I'm just kind of remembering, like from seeing them on the shelves too.
Yeah.
Like Superman 64, I never played it, thank God.
But it's supposed to be a huge piece of shit, right? I think
it's
borrowed
like the worst game of all time.
I rented it once. Yeah, never again.
What else? I'm trying to think of a game I rented that I like really. Glover. You ever play Glover?
I heard of Glover. Oh my God.
Supposedly it's pretty good, but I couldn't figure it out, and it was like the worst game I ever played. I hated it.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do? Oh yeah, it's got the little glove guy with eyes on it. What are you supposed to do?
I don't know, but I've seen gameplay of it since, and it's pretty cool. Actually, I missed out.
Okay, Glover. It looks kind of like Monkey Ball to a certain. Oh wow, this looks really needlessly complicated.
Yeah. Yoshi's Story was okay.
Good lord.
What else? Like I'm trying to think of what else I had for 64. Chef's Love Shack. You ever played that? Or the South Park game?
I knew of it. Well, I like so this
I
the
think they both
first
came out. I think the
around the same
South Park
time.
game was also on PS1.
Yeah, this so
So
that one was like a first person shooter, right?
yeah, the snowballs, and you could also pee on them.
That's right. What was
So
it?
stupid.
What
You
was
could like throw shit too.
Yeah, what was Chef's Love Shack? What are you supposed to
It's
do?
just
in
a
that?
game show. It was
Okay,
it was like a cheap ass Mario Party,
Oh, of course.
basically.
Yeah,
like
this
it was way
yeah.
worse. But it was like there's some funny parts.
Shout out to Mario Party though.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one.
Mario Party. Oh my gosh. You ever play? I mean, this is new, so technically we're not allowed to talk about it. But have you played the newer South Park games, the last two that came out?
What are they called?
Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole.
Okay, I've seen them like on the stores, like on the internet, the like the Xbox store or whatever. But
they're really worth it. I would say
Are
like
they?
yeah. I mean it is
Okay.
just like you're playing the show, but
Okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty-
it didn't
pretty-
entice me
pretty
because
damn
I didn't
funny.
know what it was supposed to be, but
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
They're pretty cheap when I looked.
yeah. No, they've been out for a while, so you can definitely get them. Yeah, that'll about do it. I think for me, I had an N64. I don't even really remember asking for it. Like maybe my dad got it secondhand from somebody. But I just had this Hot Wheels racing game that was kind of cool. Mario Party 2 or 3.
Mario Party 2 is worth a lot now if you could like
I
find
think
it.
I think that's that of like sort of the original crop. That's the one I think most people would say is the best. Yeah, and it, Oh yeah, that's the one. The one with Mario has a little cowboy hat in the middle. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that takes me back. And then this random game. Well, it's a fighting game. It was actually pretty cool though. They only made them in Japan. They didn't come out in the U.S. But all the characters were different giant robots from various like anime and manga and stuff. So yeah, it actually controlled pretty well.
Did you have like a little attachment for the game you had to put in?
The Rumble Pack or the expansion pack?
Not to play the Japanese games.
Oh no, you
like
didn't need it. You didn't need it. No, I think maybe it wasn't as bad, or maybe they weren't as strict on the Nintendo. But
okay, because my cousin so we were like big Bomberman fans and but like he got a copy of Bomberman Hero before it came out in the U.S. as the Japanese version, but he needed like an attachment for the cartridge before he put it into the like the top of the you know how you put the N64 cartridge in the top. He has to put this little adapter in first and then put it on top.
Yeah.
So and the whole thing was in Japanese, but he beat the game. Like he figured it out.
Good for him.
And I think that's it for me too for 64. Did anyone else on Instagram talk about the 64?
Yeah, I mean we had a couple Mario shout outs. That was about it for the 64. Before we get into I assume we're maybe gonna transition to PlayStation, but did you have like what Game Boys did you grow up with?
Oh wait, Marta said 64 is her favorite. I'm looking at our Instagram page right now. Okay, yeah, right on, Marta. What games do you like? You should answer the other questions too, because it would give us some more things to talk about. Because it's the middle question, so that means you ignore the first one and then you answer the second one.
Throw me a frickin' bone,
please.
Anyway.
But thank you for replying.
Yeah.
Game Boy. I just had the Game Boy Color, and I only had Pokemon, which wasn't the Game Boy Color game. It was
at a certain point like yellow, but I
only had blue
and silver. Oh, okay. Well, at least it was backwards compatible.
This dude in but that reminds me when I went to Sherman when I was a kid, this kid brought like the cartridges for like green version or whatever the fuck like from Japan. He said it was from Japan. It could have just been a green like
he was probably
game,
lying just to be cool.
Yeah, but it was still pretty cool to think of, you know. That's pretty awesome. That's my only memory of like that. Oh, and I had the strategy guides. That's something that's lost nowadays. Like, remember the strategy guides for games?
Yeah,
I had a couple I had one for Zelda. I had one for Pokemon Blue version, and I had that might have been it.
Yeah.
In the cheat code magazine.
I would do that. There was a lot of things that I would do to compensate for the reality that I wouldn't be able to either own these games or play these games, so I would go to the Barnes & Noble a lot in Colma with my mom, and I would just leaf through strategy guides.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Me too.
That was sort of me vicariously imagining me playing these games, and now I can just do that on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
I would do that at like
come a long way.
Safeway or something.
Yeah, tips and
Or
tricks.
Toys R Us. Toys R Us was a big one.
Tips and Tricks magazine, EGM.
Remember when
Game
Toys
Pro.
R Us, when they would sell games, you'd look at like, it was like a sleeve on the wall, and you look at it, you take the slip, and you give it to the person, and like the slips represented the amount they had.
You know, I wish I could say yes, but my parents never actually bought me a game from Toys R Us. I had I had a very conservative, and yeah, we'll get to this. It's gonna become like my personal relationship with home video gaming. It's really interesting. So or just I would say unconventional. Okay. Which is weird because I'm like, I was an only child. Theoretically, they should have given me whatever I wanted. Now that I think about it, but it's fine. It all turned out for the best. Maybe that's why maybe I'm kind of overcompensating now as an adult. Like, fuck it, I'm buying it because it's on sale. But
yeah, man.
So I think that'll probably about do it for. Yeah, in terms of the game, I owned a Game Boy Pocket, and I think I only had 2 games for it. Some Donkey Kong port and one of the Wario games, but then I lost it because my school had a Boys and Girls Club right across the street. I brought the Game Boy to school, or I brought the Game Boy to the Boys and Girls Club, and some kid, I was trying to play it. I was super excited or whatever. I was trying to kind of like show off, because everyone had their Pokemon, brought their Pokemon games, but I didn't have Pokemon. But some kid asked if he could see it, and I was like, yeah, sure. Maybe I just wanted him to like me or whatever. And then I got picked up, I don't know, an hour later. I forgot he had it. I got home and I like panicked, and my dad took me back to the Boys and Girls Club, and I don't know, we never saw that kid again. It's as if like he had, it's like he, and no, he didn't turn it in. So some son of a bitch just like made off with my.
It's so weird how he like just never went back to the club.
Yeah, and didn't even think to be like, oh, this kid,
Like, how did he have that kind of stroke to like not have to go back there?
It's probably some older kid. Like, I'm sure he, it's like, it's like, Hey Arnold, or like the 4th, 5th graders are like super, are, just so much more shady to the younger kids. They don't give a fuck.
It was different times.
I think I definitely got grifted. I mean, but I was a little
that shit's happened to me before. I like Pokemon cards and shit. So
I was definitely I was a little too trusting as a kid, so I was probably a relatively easy mark.
Damn.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that happened to me too. Like with Pokemon cards, like they like, oh, can I look at your cards? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And then they give it back to you, and there's like 3 missing.
Or they
you can't like do anything about it because you're not supposed to have them there anyway. So it's like you can't tell on them.
Yeah.
I didn't like telling on people either, so I thought that was fucking weak. So
foxing on the cards and stuff.
And also I had a Game Gear. My cousin.
Okay.
Okay, so my cousin had one, and
those things only have like an hour and a half battery life or something.
That shit sucked. It had a power adapter.
Oh,
so like he got rid of it. Or no. Okay. My grandma used to take toys from my older cousins, and they wouldn't know, and re-gift them to me.
That's awesome.
So like one time I had a bunch of old Batman toys, and he knows this, and like from one of my older cousins I got a Game Gear. Like she's like, oh, here you go, and I was like, oh, I took it, and had Power Rangers, like one of them, and then it had another Power Rangers game. It was like a fighting game, and then the other one was Batman Forever.
The fighting, the one where you just fight the Megazords against the monsters and stuff.
Yeah. And then I had the Batman Forever, which kind of sucked. Wait, it was Batman Forever or Batman Returns? It was one of those two.
Yeah, it was probably Forever. Mid-90s.
Yeah, Forever. Yeah.
Didn't the Game Gear only have 2 buttons? Just A and B. And a D-pad.
It was pretty cool.
It was the size. It was the size of like a VHS tape, though, wasn't it?
Pretty much, but it had a light.
Okay, it was backlit. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I remember my Game Boy didn't. I don't think it had that.
Game Boys didn't have a backlight until the Game Boy Advance SP when we were in.
That's pretty incredible. To think about.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd have to get this like stupid ass little lamp that plugs
in, little book light,
and it barely does anything. Like it doesn't even help. Like because then
you need the one for your head that people used to read.
The light would just glare off the screen. I didn't own a Game Boy Color, but I would play at my best friend's house, I'd usually play his copy. And I still remember it vividly. It was like neon green. It had stickers all over it. But I would just play Pokemon so much to the point where I would hear the little biking music when I would be trying to go to sleep. I'd be lying awake.
Yeah.
I'd be lying down in the dark trying to fall asleep. And
Nintendo has that effect. Those 8-bit games or
Yeah.
16-bit games, whatever the fuck. They has
Yeah.
those sounds have that effect on you.
And then you hear
Or
like,
me at least.
Yeah.
Jesus, don't.
Yeah. Sorry.
Please don't.
I'm sorry.
Get the Lavender Town song on you
Mm-hmm.
or something. And then
I think
what else did you have?
at a certain, well, I mean, again, I'm kind of going chronological, so really,
Yeah, I'm trying to think
where
of my
things,
chronology too.
where things really picked up for me, where it was the PS1 for sure, because at that point, I think I traded consoles or something with my uncle because he had one too, but his was modded, so I was able to play pirated games off of that, and so that's where things really blew up for me. I started getting a lot of games through my godmother in the Philippines would send over these pirated games. So they wouldn't, again, I've probably talked about this before, but you know, sometimes they wouldn't be all the way there. Like I had, for some reason I had 2 copies of Tekken 3, one of which there was no music in the game at all. Like it just didn't have the background music. So it's kind of weird, but what are you going to do? I'm not going to complain. It was a gift.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was pirated. But probably, by far my favorite game on the PS1 was definitely, you mentioned the 2000 Spider-Man game from Neversoft, the same people who made Tony Hawk. And I remember staying up super late the night before my first soccer game, playing that game with my dad because I was just so jazzed about it. And that also really spurred my love of Spider-Man. And I remember the cutscenes being super sick. And I think at that point I had just heard a movie was coming out, and I was like, they should just make the movie exactly like the game because that was really cool.
Yeah,
But that was a pretty great game.
Yeah, PS1, man, that was a big one because I think the first games I had were like the SmackDown games, and that changed it for me. And I had was it Crash Bandicoot?
I was gonna say Jenna.
It was the second one, I think. I think it was the second one I had.
Yeah, Genesis on Instagram says Crash Bandicoot, and those games were the second one definitely was really great. When you just had more moves, you could do the slide and the body slam and the little splits, jump, and everything like that. And
I also had I had Tony Hawk 1 and 2. I think Tony Hawk 2 was my favorite.
2 was definitely better, I would say.
I also, my cousin had it for 64, the first one, and I just think the PlayStation one was so much better as far as, and it was rated teen, so it didn't have any like censoring with it.
Yeah, wasn't it weird? Like the N64 did weird shit where I think when you fell, they didn't even show the little blood pixels, quote unquote. Like they were just little red squares that would like fly off your character's face. And then because they had a lot more limited like hardware and software with audio, so you'd only get like 45 to 60 seconds of the songs. They weren't full songs.
Yeah,
it was like, I think they were like hit clips.
Yeah, the hit clips. Jesus Christ, those are the worst things to ever exist. People paid money for hit clips.
I know.
Jesus. No, the PlayStation was way better for that. They had like full videos. I remember the Star Wars Episode 1 game on that. As shitty as it was still a fun ass game. Jedi Power Battles was fun.
Oh my god, I fucking hated that. I mean, I loved it, but it was so hard. I wanted to love it, but it didn't love me back. The game was so hard.
It's terrible. What else did I play for PS1? My life with the PS1 wasn't that long. There's some games I like on it now that I've played, like Puzzle Fighter. That's like a really fun
Puzzle
game.
Fighter, man, yeah.
Devil Dice.
Pocket Fighter was pretty great too.
Pocket Fighter, yeah. What else came out on PlayStation?
Playing Pocket Pool.
I feel like I'm missing. The Tekken games were great. I'm trying to think of what I owned. I don't think I owned that. I didn't own that many games.
You ever play Jackie Chan Stunt Master?
Yes.
That game. That
great
game slaps.
Game. Yeah. Yes. It's a beautiful game. Celebrity Deathmatch was fun. Simpsons Wrestling was fun.
Yeah, I like it. People fucking hated Simpsons wrestling, but it was really frustrating, but
Dude,
I
that was
dug it.
fun.
I dug
liked
it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good licensed games. Yeah, there was a couple. There was like this really good Bugs Bunny time traveling game that was pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like there are a lot of RPG games I didn't really get into.
Yeah, that
like,
was.
I wasn't into Final Fantasy at all.
Yeah,
So.
neither am I, but I understand. Yeah, a lot of people look at the PS1 as like the gold standard for like JRPGs. But more power to them.
And I get it. Like I feel like if I got into those games, I'd appreciate the console way more. But I think fuck man, we just glossed over Dreamcast because I was into Dreamcast way before.
Oh,
PS1.
go ahead, go Dreamcast. I mean, yeah, this is. I think we're just going with our own experiences, but go ahead, you can take it away with Dreamcast.
I don't have too much to say about it other than like I feel like I tried to force myself to like it, and I don't think Dreamcast really like held up as much as.
Oh, really?
Like. I know that's like a contrary thing to say, but just for my taste, like I didn't think it was. I don't know. It was a little bland. But there are some fun ass games for it. Like House of the Dead was great.
Yeah.
Dynamite Cop, Blue Stinger. Fuck, there's some other ones too.
Dynamite.
The Dolphin.
Echo the Dolphin.
Echo the Dolphin was fun.
You ever play Power Stone? Power Stone was pretty sick.
I don't think so.
It was Power Stone was, so it was a fighting game. I think it was made by Capcom, but it was sort of you played in this isometric kind of thing, so you could move in all directions really. But it was sort of like a Smash Brothers thing because it could be 4-player one-on-one, but you were like fighting for it was kind of like the Marvel superheroes game because you're fighting for these gems that give you extra abilities during the fights, and you could transform into a more powerful form if you get the gem. But it's pretty. And you could sort of like jump off the walls or like slide up and down these poles and stuff, and you kind of use the environment to your advantage. So it's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck, dude.
Sonic Adventure.
Yeah,
anyone?
I think I'm just really mixed on the. Yeah, Sonic Adventure was fun. I think I'm just mixed on the Dreamcast because I revisited it recently and I was like, this is okay. I don't know if it's as like. It definitely like I see why it got phased out for sure. And that's the same thing with Sega. It seems like the timing was terrible with that.
Yeah,
if they just like waited a year, they could have made it like a super system.
Maybe it came out too. Maybe they came out too soon.
It was Y2K, right? Was it 1999?
Yeah, 98, 99. I think it is when it launched.
Yeah, and it was done within like 2 years. 2001 was when
I think it had like the shortest run of a console in history or something.
I mean, it was a really good console, like for it to just be done like that. Considering they just kind of redid that with the Xbox a couple years later, I feel like that was just kind of a Dreamcast inspired relaunch.
Sort of, yeah.
The control was like exactly like Dreamcast.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of that.
I remember when
especially
I saw it,
the smaller one, the smaller model. Yeah, exactly. Oh
or the original model, like the big bulky one, is pretty much like a Dreamcast control. But I think we got a little off track. PlayStation 1 changed the game for me. Yeah. Or PS2 might have been the game changer, but PS1, like what I played there, I really wanted to play on PS2. Like the follow-up games.
Yeah.
So. I
sadly did not own a PS2. I owned a game. I know. But I spent plenty of time with other people's PS2s. I played a lot of Zone of the Enders at my cousin's house and Enter the Matrix.
Enter the Matrix. My cousin and I stayed up like all night one time.
Right?
Okay, did you use cheat codes?
No,
we used cheat codes.
No.
We weren't good enough at games to do it without cheat codes. But like if you fell off a ledge and you wouldn't die, so you'd have to like restart the
I think I actually got through the game without cheat codes. I had to do it in a couple different sittings, but some parts were pretty hard, but
yeah, it was impossible for us. Unlimited focus, unlimited health. Yeah, we needed it. Just don't fall off a ledge or else the game won't reboot or it won't start over. So
you got to did you play I like how they had to, because you either play as Ghost or Niobe, they had to, if you played as Niobe, you got to watch her kiss what's-her-face, Persephone. The one who kisses everyone in order to,
I forgot about that scene.
She'll tell you what you want, but you have to make out with her for like 2 minutes first.
Oh, yeah, that was in the movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was so stupid.
Like that was just a thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could do the Matrix trilogy at some point. I don't know.
You know, I've revisited the Matrix, and I really love the like concept, and I've been watching this YouTube channel called Matrix Explained, and they show you stories that have like been on like comic book stories. They'll break it down. They even actually came across a story that got deleted from the site, and like the writer nowadays doesn't even exist. Like they have no other work, so it's very Matrixy and like mystical. So it's pretty cool.
It's pretty meta.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I like it. But I've kind of rejuvenated my interest in that franchise, even though I think the sequels suck balls.
Sure. I think. Oh, you know what? I don't think we can have a conversation about the PS2 without mentioning the EA Street series.
Oh my God. You know, I missed out on NFL Street, but
NFL Street's pretty sick. I only played the first one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've watched it being played. But no, yeah, NBA Street 1 and 2 are like some of my favorite games ever.
Definitely.
Second one a little more, but I just didn't own it.
Two was so much better. I mean,
soundtrack too.
Soundtrack, yeah. The game just opens with "They Reminisce Over You." That beat has just been drilled into my head from then on. But yeah, you could have a team where it's all Michael Jordan. It's like Spider-Verse before Spider-Verse. But yeah, I think even Nelly was in that too. I think he was in this first one. Yeah, he was a secret character in the first one.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah.
Or the Def Jam games.
Oh yeah, the Def Jam Vendettas. I never played those, but I always wanted to.
Yeah, my cousin owned them. He owned like a hella PS2 games. What else? Grand Theft Auto.
Of course.
Like those totally changed the game.
Grand Theft Auto 3. Word, can I buy that?
Oh, and PS2 also like they started with the MLB games. Like the games for PlayStation, the baseball ones are like the best ones. So
yeah, those seem to be the best ones that I always heard, like the show and all that.
Oh yeah, the show. I remember when the show first came out. It was MLB 06, the show. Like there's an MLB 06 that came out. Then the same year they're like MLB 06, the show, and I was like, I gotta fucking play that. And I didn't know anyone that played it except for one kid in my class I didn't like, and that's how we became friends. Freshman year, we were like, hey, you play the show? Like, yeah.
You have what I want. Yeah.
And then one of my friends had it on PSP, which is kind of cool.
Baseball, I think as far as like the Sims, or whatever, like the more like the realistic versions of sports video games, I like baseball ones kind of the best because I think those are sort of the easier to pick up and play, I would say. Like baseball games are like, I was always a little intimidated by Madden and like NBA Live or whatever the fuck, or 2K or whatever was happening back then.
Yeah, for me, like if the controls for the baseball game were like simple to figure out, then I always like playing baseball games.
Yeah.
Except when you like start putting the difficulty up, the pitches start getting hard to see, and like it gets frustrating. And it's long, but
quick shout out to let's take it back real quick to Windows. Quick shout out to Backyard Baseball. I
didn't get to get on that.
Oh man, you missed out. Backyard Baseball was Backyard Baseball was the shit.
Man, I hear about it all the time.
I think you'd love, honestly, like if you can find an emulator or something, or just a way to play it on your PC, I think you would have so much fun with it, just especially if you're just kind of laying back, like a little, but like.
I've found it at like stores on PS2.
You gotta play the PC.
It has to be the PC one?
It's the PC version, like just the point and click. It's just so simple, but it's so fun, especially, the art style and everything like that. Yeah.
I dig it. I'll check that out.
Yeah. You would really dig it, I'm sure.
Also, golf games weren't too bad either. Like the Tiger Woods games to Mario Golf, those are all pretty solid games.
The golf games are Hot Shots.
I will say.
Hot Shots Golf.
Yep.
Golf games have their place for sure. Yeah. So that's let's see. What the hell were we? Did we just wrap up? Okay, PS2. You ever play Quidditch World Cup? The Harry Potter.
No.
It's basically NBA Street, but with Quidditch. I'm not joking, because at a certain point, like there are actually game breakers.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah,
nice.
none of it really matters at a certain point. So it's cool because you have the Hogwarts teams, but then you also have international teams. There's like an American Quidditch team and like a Jamaican Quidditch team. So it kind of feels like Mighty Ducks 2.
Okay.
But yeah, then the only way to win obviously is to catch the snitch, and then all of a sudden you're just in this like super tight, like tense race to catch it from the other person's seeker. I wish I had that game too. My best friend is obscenely good at it, and it really fucking pisses me off. And he doesn't even know why he's so good at it, but he just thinks he thinks it's hilarious.
I think a game that like I wouldn't have expected to like as much was the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
I've heard really good things about those. Those are like hack and slash, right?
Yeah, I didn't play the other ones, but The Two Towers was really fun for me. It was hard too, and Fight Night for sure.
Okay,
Fight Night was a big one. That's I love that. I was just playing that before we started doing this, and I was gonna say something about like more of your the theme of games you were talking about with Quidditch,
like sports, like arcade sports games.
Yeah. Forgot.
If it comes back, just it's fine.
Yeah, but there are like some other like obscure games like Dead to Rights or True Crime.
Oh, True Crime Streets of LA, bro.
Yeah.
Have I told you my story with that game?
No, I'd like to hear it because that game tripped me the fuck out when I first played it.
Okay. Well, I mean,
so strange.
Long story short, like compared to Grand Theft Auto, where you're a bad guy just doing bad shit. Like in this one, obviously, in True Crime Streets of LA, you're a cop, half Asian, half white, and all that, and you're trying to find.
Kind of like Mark Dacascos.
Yeah, it's kind of maybe a little exactly like Mark Dacascos. Damn it, it happened again. But you're trying to find out. I think you're trying to bust bad guys and find out who killed your father or something like that. But yeah, it was cool. I mean. But I didn't realize you actually had to be careful playing that game. Like, you didn't have to shoot the bad guys as they were running away from you. You could actually just chase them down and cuff them because you had, like, the good and bad cop rating, right? Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think I just did so bad that my bad cop rating was...
like negative.
It was negative 99, and I couldn't... I think I broke the game because no matter how much I tried to not run over people with my car and not shoot them when they're running away from me and just make regular arrests... I couldn't get the bad cop rating back up.
Jesus, so that's pretty good.
And apparently there were multiple endings to that game, but every time I tried, I just got the worst, most underwhelming possible ending.
Yeah, there's I think there's like 3 different paths you could take, which is like I didn't realize it until you start playing the game, of course. But I like that game, man. It was a pretty bad game, but I liked it.
That was pretty cool. I mean, the map was pretty sick, and you could play as Snoop Dogg with the cheat.
Did you ever play the Warriors video game?
Not back then, but I actually got like the port of it for PS4, and I'm like, this is pretty sick.
It's pretty good, yeah.
And like all the little mini games and everything. It's kind of stressful. You have to manage your gang and everything. And
is it a Rockstar game?
Yeah, it's a Rockstar game.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this was between Grand Theft Autos. Speaking of which, definitely shout out to Bully. Have you ever played Bully?
Yes,
Bully.
I played that in high school, like during like Thanksgiving break. Yeah. It was like some of the most fun I ever had.
Bully was awesome.
That one and like, you remember State of Emergency?
No, I heard about it, but is that a Rockstar game? Or?
Yeah, it was okay, but it was fun. Like it doesn't. I don't think it holds up as well, but it was pretty fun. Red Dead Revolver came out originally for PS2.
Yeah, PS2 had a lot of very solid catalog for sure. But I think really the majority of and again, actually, I kind of cheated talking about NBA Street early because I didn't play that on PS2. I had that on GameCube because that's where most of my...
Dude, I forgot I had a GameCube. I was like, I got that in high school.
Yeah, though. My fondest...
I came up on it.
My fondest gaming memories probably come from GameCube. Spider-Man 2.
Let's talk about GameCube.
Yeah.
Let's move over to GameCube. Yeah. I'm cool.
It was
we could talk about PS2 all day, but
yeah, Well, I thought it was a sick design. It's just this little thing. It looked like a little lunchbox or something. It had a weird handle on the back, and the controller. I think that's my favorite controller feel is the GameCube.
You know what? I didn't like how it looked, but when I got myself a GameCube, I felt the exact same way.
It felt right. Like
I got the first game I got for GameCube was the Zelda Twilight Princess because I bought it in high school. I bought it to play that game. Saved up. You know the bottles you get tennis balls in, that little plastic tin. I had coins full. I filled that up with coins, and I went to Coinstar, cashed it out, bought a GameCube with it.
Oh my
And
god.
I was able to buy both the GameCube and the console. It was like a used black one, and I got the game. And I think I bought a memory card. So yeah, somehow I got all of it with the coins. So I played that, and I figured that out with the control. I was like, man, this control is really good. It's almost better than PlayStation. I'm a big PlayStation control guy.
I will say, I mean, because the thing with the PlayStation, like PlayStation 2 and 3, well, I mean, the
Even
first
PS4
DualShock.
too.
Well, yeah, PS4 is a little better, but the thing with the DualShock I never really liked is the fact that it's like raised, like it's rounded at the top. So at least with PS4, it's more of a dip, so it doesn't feel like your thumbs have to stretch upward as much. But
Kind of like how the Xbox 360
yeah,
was.
yeah. That definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, the GameCube controller is just the way it's sort of curved. It just your hands just
It's
felt-
comfortable.
Yeah, it's a comfortable. Like
It's not
I
flimsy
mean,
either.
I played
Uh,
the fact that I played for hours on end, Simpsons Hit and Run or whatever it was. that was up there for me.
I play that for PS2.
A lot of the online gaming community shares my sentiment, but we are all hoping and praying for a full remake of Simpsons Hit and Run where it's just one big Springfield and not split into levels, like, because that would just be awesome.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
GameCube. What else did I play for GameCube? Well, what color did you have? I had the black one.
Me too. Black. Yeah.
And you have a silver one now, right? We went to that
Yeah.
toy. We went to that convention and you bought that.
$30. Yes.
Dude, you stole that.
I did. That was
such a. Well, he offered it for you.
Yeah.
For that, right? So
Yeah.
that's such a good deal for a silver GameCube.
That's
It's fucking
true.
rare, man.
That's true.
I mean, there's gold. There's other ones too. Like I saw an orange one on eBay.
Oh yeah, that's
yellow.
right. Yeah.
Did you have the original 64 or was it like one of the colored ones?
Shoot.
Like the IMAX. Remember they did the IMAX like that?
The see-through plastic aesthetic.
Yeah.
I want to say, I think it was just the regular black one, but I had the purple controller, like the see-through purple controller.
Right. Okay. I had the black one, and then I had the regular controller. Then when my cousin sold his, he had a 64, but it was the green one, the green see-through. But when he sold his 64, he gave me the control, so I have that green control now. It's pretty cool. And I have the regular control, but the joysticks fucked.
Well, yeah, at a certain point, like they'd just be kind of loose. They wouldn't just be like in one. They'd be kind of leaning to one side or the other, and then it just wouldn't have
that's
the
how
same,
mine is. Yeah.
the same action because it was just like this little like plastic twig.
I was wondering why like my
like-
character would be like kind of floating off when I
Yeah.
was taking a break.
It looked like a golf tee or something.
Yeah. But get back to GameCube. What are some of your favorite games? Like Mario Sunshine,
again, a
Luigi?
lot of not as much of the first party stuff, but yeah, I mean, well, Wind Waker was definitely up there. I borrowed that from a friend, and I
That's a
couldn't.
sleeper.
I couldn't put that down. It's the cell shaded art style was definitely where it's at. I never finished Mario Sunshine, but that's why I'm hoping to get a Switch at some point so I can get that 3D All Stars collection, so I can go back into Sunshine and pick up where I left off. But yeah, a lot of it was.
What about the Resident Evil remake?
Dude, I've never played a Resident Evil game in my life. I was too scared as a kid by like the box art for Resident Evil 2 with the little, the zombies peeking around the corner. But
No, I could only play the first one, and it still freaks me out. Like I was playing it the other day because I bought it for it was on the Xbox store, so I bought it, and it's like the one for GameCube. I was like, oh shit, this is fucking intense. I don't like it. I don't want to play it no more.
so I mean, yeah, Smash Brothers. I got pretty into Smash Brothers for GameCube.
Melee?
Yeah. I definitely had Twilight Princess as well.
I fucking love that game.
Yeah, that Twilight Princess is so bad. It's definitely the most badass of the Zeldas.
Yeah,
There's
it's
that-
like sad too
It's
at
sad
some parts.
yeah, it is super sad with the Twilight Realm and all that, and it's just really, I mean, I think Majora's Mask is probably the darkest, but Twilight Princess is probably the most emo, if that. There's a difference. But there's that whole boss fight where you're just like on that Beyblade.
That's dude.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite things I ever did. I hated that level. I liked the level, but I wasn't sold on that thing yet until the boss fight.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is pretty fucking tight.
Because that dungeon, that's where they introduced the fucking re-deads, and like nobody wants to fuck with the
Yeah.
redeads. Those things are terrifying.
No, I let my friend borrow the Resident Evil game and my memory card for GameCube, and I never got it back. So I got to like the Sky Temple and
Oh, you never finished Twilight Princess?
Twilight. I never finished it.
It
No.
ends in such a badass way. Oh my god.
I'm pretty upset.
You want to know what happens, or like basically?
Yeah,
okay.
you can just tell me.
Well, no, well, like so the closing boss fight, it's 3 phases. So you fight. So first, I think you have to fight Ganon possessing Zelda, and then you fight her to the point you get Ganon out, and then he's fighting you as like in his boar form. And then the castle gets destroyed, but you get teleported out of the castle, and then it's just a 1-on-1 sword fight between you and Ganondorf, and it's just really dope. Because I don't know if you remember, Link had all these like sick ass sword moves. Like he had this thing where it was like
you could learn a lot of
there's all these like all these like bonus techniques. Like there was a thing where you just stand there, and if you press it at the right time, he just whips out his sword, like, and it's like a 1-hit kill. Just like it was just much more, just very cinematic and everything like that. And my Tony Hawk playing definitely peaked at this point. Tony Hawk 4 probably had my favorite soundtrack. I played Tony Hawk Underground 2 probably the most though.
Okay.
I
didn't get into those ones.
Yeah.
After 2, I didn't play them, but they looked fun. I heard Underground was really good.
Underground 2 is, I think for me it was the perfect time because it just really was so of its era, because at that point, like Bam Margera was like basically like
he's in it,
the
right?
co-star of that game, and it's the most jackass.
I forgot about that
of the games, I spent just a lot of time playing that stuff. It was just a lot of stuff where I just could keep playing, kind of over and over again, which is weird because I don't really do that now. Like now, I'm more interested in games that actually have like a beginning to an end. But yeah, I don't really know what that's kind of changed for me. Like maybe I'm more I guess more sensitive to like wanting a story or whatever the fuck. But at that point, I just wanted something to sit around and play instead of doing homework. So
yeah, that's why. Yeah, a lot of games I played were like that. I feel like
where it's just like an endless kind of loop. Like I played Simpsons Road Rage was pretty huge for me, which was just basically Simpsons Crazy Taxi. You ever play that? Yeah. Simpsons Road Rage?
Yeah. I played it for PS2 though.
It looked shitty, but like they actually
it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I was that big of a Simpsons fan at that point that I didn't really care. I'm like, oh cool, I'm driving around Springfield and the voices are all there. That's all that matters to me.
Another one I really liked was the Indiana Jones game for PS2. The Emperor's Tomb, I think, is what it's called.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
you like fight Russians and you go into Asia. It's pretty fun.
Is that the
one? You go to Turkey.
Is that the one? Isn't there like a San Francisco part of that, or maybe that's?
No, that's the one that came out for like
Xbox, I think, or PC.
360.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the later one.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play that one. I should probably try to find it.
I know they're coming out.
I don't think I have a console.
They're
for
making
it,
a new Indiana Jones game. They announced that this past week. We'll see how it goes.
Lego
no, an actual Indiana Jones game, but
that might be fun. I'd rather have him voice that than actually do another movie. It'd be cool if he did that and film cutscenes for it.
Oh,
like you might as well do something like that.
Like Enter the Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That'd be better. It'd be less work.
It would take a lot less off of him physically.
Yeah, since everything's a fucking burden for Harrison Ford now.
Everything's been a burden for Harrison Ford since 1975.
Since the guy got on his plane.
Yeah.
Get off my plane. I almost bought Air Force One at Goodwill the other day. I put it back.
Get off my plane. So, I think that kind of takes me all through middle school. Then, you want to just talk some shit real quick about Tiger Electronics to bring it home?
Okay, I don't hate those games, but they're like so fucking pointless.
Yeah. Okay. So for those who don't remember, Tiger Electronics had a line of quote video games where it was just that little handheld thing and a little LCD screen, and you could only move the characters every which way. But they had them for everything. They had them for Barbie. They had them for Batman. They had them for Aladdin. They had every licensed.
I had one for RoboCop.
Yeah, every licensed property that could be targeted at kids in the 90s had a cruddy little Tiger Electronics handheld game.
Yeah.
For it, and they how much were those? Like $20?
Probably something like that. I had one, and it was given to me as a gift, and like it was just the worst thing I ever played.
Wow.
I played it a lot, and it used to piss me off, but you know, okay, they're not that bad, but it's just come
they're
on,
not
man.
great, but they're not great.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So if you could,
It'd be the equivalent of you like buying a going on to like buying a third party game, like handheld game, and it has a whole bunch of preloaded games in it that
like
you never heard of.
30-in-1 or some shit like that.
Yeah, it'd be like it'd just be like doing that nowadays.
Okay. Well, it just so proves that arcade games is definitely a whole other discussion. So we'll definitely shelve that. Let's just end real quick. If of all of these games that you listed, if you could re-experience one of them again, like totally fresh, if you wanted like that feeling again of playing it for the first time, like what game would it be?
It's a really tough one. It might be MLB The Show, 06, or because that's when I was like, wow, this is like the baseball game I've always wanted. Because all the other ones are kind of just like unrealistic, and like once that came out, I was like, and I was really into baseball at the time and playing. I was like, whoa, this is like the actual thing. The animation's on point. The controls are like, couldn't get any better. And then like as far as like a childhood favorite, dude, maybe like re-experiencing like Mystical Ninja, or because it's like one of those games you find on your own, and it's you're so proud of your find, So probably the feeling I got when I played that game, because I just like, man, the soundtrack's so cool, the moves are so cool, it's a beautiful setting, all of it was fun for me. So just the excitement I had playing those two games, I'd want to experience that again.
So for me, I'll just go with two picks too. So again, I think I would just like to I would love to have re-experienced that first Spider-Man game, because it was just so fucking special. Like, especially the cutscenes. Like those cutscenes had no right being that good. And the soundtrack, I didn't talk about this earlier, but the soundtrack fucking rocks. It's so like, it's just so kind of late 90s, early 2000s sort of edgy techno rock, like Matrix meets Batman Beyond kind of thing. And they all just kind of loop. I'll send you some of my favorite cuts from that. But I love the soundtrack to that game, and the fact that it just throws you in, and like Stan Lee narrates the game and everything like that. So it's just it just has a lot of the trappings, the Marvel trappings, just really legitimize the whole experience. And I would definitely say Wind Waker again, just because that was so special of an experience, like sailing around the whole world and slowly realizing like, oh shit, like, where the place of it in the mythology and everything like that. So I'm not the hugest Zelda fan, but I really respect sort of what it is and what those games do, for sure.
Yeah. And I never really got into Wind Waker, so that's interesting you say that. And that makes me want to go back and maybe not play it, but at least watch some of the...
Yeah, music's great too, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, music in Zelda is usually pretty solid, especially in Twilight Princess.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of orchestras type of stuff. Or the scene where your little fairy Twilight homie's dying, and you're the wolf, you gotta like carry her.
Oh,
it's just pretty like that song that's playing is like, oh shit. I always wanted to sample that for a song. It's a little tricky, but yeah.
Someday.
Maybe like when I first played Twilight Princess.
Yeah, that was good too.
That was something else. That was like the first time I was actually good at a Zelda game, and I figured it out on my own. So I was like, okay, this is fun.
We can do this. I know some of these words. I can solve some of these.
I know some of these words.
I can solve some of these puzzles.
So what does it all mean, Dexter? I guess this is the first thing we did where there's not really a secret sauce for like. Maybe the control for the GameCube is like a secret sauce kind of thing.
It's the GameCube controller, I would say.
The Bagel Bites, like
Bagel Bite grease on the N64 controller.
That's a big sensory thing for your memory.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's not going to happen anymore because we're not going to be sharing stuff like we used to.
Exactly. That's for sure.
Like it sounds extra disgusting. Like today in 2021, like that makes me feel very uncomfortable, and I might get sick from.
Yeah.
You know.
That could be, that's for sure. All right. Well, as a PSA, remember, guys, blowing your cartridges just makes it worse. Don't blow in your cartridges. That'll about do it for this week's edition of Two Old Souls. Take care. Stay safe. And we too old for this shit. Later.